show how much you care is to be accessible and vulnerable with your teams.
Patrick Kelly, author of Millennial Boom, is here to help us all work in harmony.
Unplug and get real. Life is not full of sunshine and rainbows.
There's 5 areas of conflict.
Is to work yourself out of a job. Any leaders are threatened by that, but you need to get over it, get over yourself, and realize you're not indispensable.
Help! I'm a workaholic.
Develop the leaders around you.
What is servant leadership really?
Hey everyone, Patrick Kelly here.
Finzel here.
So we are coming at you, Millennial Boom, episode 5, the great golf in technology, as promised, right? So Hans and I are here I'm representing Tampa, Florida.
I'm representing Denver, Colorado.
So we are here during this COVID crisis to jam-pack you with information and really help you work from home. And not only work from home, help with the generations that are in the workplace. And I gotta tell you again, Millennial Boom. We call this book Millennial Boom, right? Because millennials, right, and boomers. So there is explosions happening in the workplace that create these 5 areas of conflict that we've talked about before, that is workspace and workplace, schedules and priorities, marriage and family, dress and body art, and technology. So again, we're here to talk to you today about the great golf and technology. We appreciate everybody who's been following and listening and downloading the ebook. Don't forget to subscribe to Hans and I's YouTube channel.
Hey, Patrick, I was just thinking with this whole COVID crisis and everybody, millions of people being forced to work from home, I know that millennials have a lot easier time adjusting to that, right, than us boomers. We boomers, it's kind of a big stretch for a lot of us to work from home, even though I've been working from home for 8 years. But don't you agree? It's an easier adjustment for you guys?
I think it is an easier adjustment.
Because of technology. So we're going to hop into technology, and we've got this great quiz that we have at the beginning of this chapter. So go ahead.
All right, let's talk about the quiz. And remember, Hans and I say that these can be intergenerational, because as Hans has more millennial, I would say, tendencies than boomers, you can match these with more. Because I did an interview on the podcast, and a gentleman that was an Xer, he would say, oh, I act like that. So let's go ahead and start off with the quiz.
Something a baby boomer would say, or is this something a millennial say? The first one, only old people use email. Duh. Well, that's pretty obviously, that's a millennial's perspective. Why do those parents let each of their children be on those tablets when they're out to dinner?
Boomer. They don't have a landline anymore?
They don't have a landline? That's a boomer.
Some people don't even know what landlines are. I had someone actually say that and say, did you grow up with the telephone where you had to, stretch the wire 20 feet? And I said, yeah, that's how I talked to my friends when I was in middle school, right? I closed the door with the wire hanging out. So
right. Why does she keep calling me without texting me first?
Oh my God.
I've learned with my millennial kids, our 4 millennial kids, you don't just call them out of the blue. Are you kidding me, right?
True. And even now, like my father, it's almost getting to that point where I text him and then try to call him, kind of give him a pre-warning that, hey, I'm giving you a call. Right. Oh, here's a good talk at dinner time.
Yeah, that's definitely a boomer.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
I got one. I hate Facebook. All those old people are on it.
Yeah, that's a millennial talking. What have you guys gravitated to since you hate Facebook now? Because we boomers have hijacked it.
I think it just depends on your age range, but I mean, my social media apps that I go to, I still look at Facebook, and I use Instagram more, Snapchat.
I think Instagram is more like a millennial platform, don't you think?
I agree. I keep telling Renee, my wife, I say she's on Facebook, and I said, get on Instagram. I said, it's less reading, because it's more things to filter through, right? On Facebook, right, like everybody bleeds out a big story and can go on, right? Instagram's right, a little different. Snapchat's a little different. And then TikTok is like the new trend that's going on. So if I need to find him, I'll just text them.
Millennial.
And then at the end of the day, is it just me though? Or is anyone without their smartphones though, Hans? Think about it.
Yeah, that's everybody. That's
Regardless
everybody.
of the quiz, is everybody today is hooked to their smartphone. And even today, we're hooked to more. Look what I have next to me. Look what you have. We have multiple devices and technology working today, working with platforms to help educate, to help learn, and to conduct business, right? So it's huge.
Okay, one of our passions, as Patrick and I wrote this book together and we're teaching on Millennial Boom, is to explode stereotypes. We hate stereotypes, don't we? But there are stereotypes. I mean, boomers have so many stereotypes about millennials and vice versa. And one of the stereotypes is that boomers are technologically illiterate. And so I want to talk about my own journey with technology, because not all boomers are illiterate. And I always like to remind people that Bill Gates and Steve Jobs are boomers, were boomers in the case of Steve, and changed the world. They brought us this technology. And in a moment, we'll talk about the fact that boomers are settlers, but you guys are natives in the land of technology. But not all boomers are not tech savvy. And my father was a rocket scientist. My brother's a rocket scientist and an engineer. So I come from a long line of engineers, and I've always embraced technology. In fact, I have a picture here on page 73. I'm going to hold this up to the screen. This was my very first computer, affectionately known as a Trash 80, a Tandy Radio Shack model, TRS-80 Model 3. And this was like the mid-1980s. Okay, let's see. What year were you born, Patrick?
I was born in 1985.
Okay, that's about the year that I bought this computer. It was one of the first, I was the first person in our entire international global organization that bought a personal computer. I remember asking my boss back in Chicago, we didn't even have email, so I must have written him a letter and said, can I buy a computer? And he's like, why would you need a computer? Well, we were developing courses, leadership courses, curriculum. And I'm like, if I had a word processor, it would be a game changer. You know, moving from the IBM Selectric to the word processor. He said, yes, I spent $3,800 on this Trash 80 in 1985, but it was a game changer. So I've always been high tech. I've taught you a lot of things in technology. We have 4 children. They're all high tech. My 2 oldest sons, shout out to my son, Jeremy, whose birthday is today. I think he's 36 today. And he and my oldest son are both in the technology field. So not all boomers are technologically illiterate, and don't treat us that way.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Well, and the same for, if you look at the millennial group, we call them, right, natives to technology versus the settlers, right, Hans?
Yeah, we had to immigrate into the land of technology, and we did not grow up as little kids with tech. And yeah, that's why we had to move to that land. And some boomers are definitely technologically illiterate. And those of you boomers, if you want to learn more about technology, get your grandchildren to train you.
Very true. It's a search engine called YouTube. There's millions of videos that'll show you how-tos and what-tos on technology, for sure. So would you consider yourself, though, an early adapter, late adapter? Where do you put yourself, though, as not just a boomer, but that you as yourself to technology?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm definitely an early adopter of all things technology.
So yeah,
I always have the latest iPhone. I would get a new laptop every year to get the latest version. So I'm definitely on the early side of the adoption of the latest technology.
Of course, and I asked that question because we have to know that all of our listeners, and they have their generalization that baby boomers don't like technology. Yes, they do. We have some that thrive for it, that wait for it to come out, right? So that's awesome. That's Hans. And the same, I'm more of a late adopter. I let it come out, let the bugs get worked out, and then I'll order it, right? But I'm still up to date with technology. And my journey was a little bit different as well. I grew up not with computers, but learning with computers with my parents. My first computer was in 1994. It was a compact Presario. It took 100 floppy disks to enter in to do these things, right? And guess who told us to do it? My dad got tired of doing it and said, hey, Chris, come on, sit over here and put 25 discs in. Brian, come here, you're next. And we all had turns of doing all these discs. So we learned, right, through our journey, we learned compact Presario, floppy disks, then it went to, CD-ROMs, right? And we started learning. So I would say our generation came up with, then when we were in 5th and 6th grade, they were having more, if you had, the electives, if you had good grades, you were able to enter the typewriting classes and HTML coding classes. So yes, 100% that I think that millennials had a very good track record to be natives in technology about learning where we started to where we are today. And my journey, even through college, I went from not being able to use a laptop to everybody having to have a laptop. And it was a very fast change, and it was a 10-year change. But over that 10 years, it went from everybody using notebooks to everybody having to have scientific $150 calculators and laptops in the classroom. So it happened very fast for millennials, and we had no other choice but to just stop and change. Kind of like what's happening right now in the COVID crisis. Wouldn't you say, Hans?
That's exactly what I was thinking. I told you the other day that the Denver public school system ordered 9,000 Chromebooks overnight for students. I'm like, where do you find 9,000 Chromebooks? But and all the school districts are giving people tablets and laptops. Yeah. So whether you like it or not, you are being forced into the new technology.
So that's what happened to me. So as we talk about millennials and boomers being natives versus settlers, a very, very good friend of mine, I did an interview on my podcast with, he goes, I believe natives versus settlers is a mindset. And I said, talk to me more. And he said, well, think about it. The settlers, he goes, are more of, the people that are just settling for their piece of technology. They're getting the iPhones, but they're only using it to a certain capacity. He goes, then you have these natives, the true Generation Z that are born with the iPhones, that know more about it today, but don't know about the history of where it came from or where we started, can teach and maneuver in different ways, right? So we have to think about how we now, he said, we are the natives. As you're constantly learning to be integrated with tech, then you're becoming that native of technology. And the people that are stopping learning are those settlers that have stopped at that point. And I said, you know what? That's a great perception to look at it. And I believe that now I am a native, and Hans, you are too, because you were not stopping learning about technology. You're thriving together with it and learning with each generation.
That's a great point. Yep. I do feel like I'm a native.
No, you are.
I am a native, yes. Now, you boomers who are listening, and I'm watching some of you, we're getting a lot of good views. And by the way, you could really do us a favor. We're giving you this book for free. And at the end of this, what is this? At the end of this Zoom call and Facebook Live.
What day is it? Don't even start.
There are only 3 days to the week now. There's only yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
That's all there is.
There aren't 7 days anymore. We're going to give you this for free, but could you do us a favor and share the Facebook Live as you're watching? Share it with other people and spread the word. A couple of things I want to say about boomers and technology. Number one, there's still a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear about technology, and that's one reason there's a lot of fear as we're having to work from home. Can I do it? I don't feel adequate. I feel inadequate. I'm going to get embarrassed. I'm going to lose face because I'm really wrestling with this. So that's something I see, Patrick, out there a lot among of course, the builder generation, but also the boomers, just the fear, will I be able to figure this out?
Yeah, I do agree with you. And wouldn't you think that's going to change the way we think as well? Think about the instant access to responses that we used to require before being in the office with people. Now we're communicating with people knowing they're at home, knowing that all their communication devices are in front of them. It's kind of hard to say you're busy.
I know.
I mean, it is, right? You can't say you're busy anymore. Oh, I'm at the store. I'm doing this.
You can't use those, you know, those.
Oh, man. We lost Hans for a little bit. It's all right. So hopefully he comes back on. I don't see him. We'll see if he gets back to our view. But think about the instant access of—
It froze on me, dude. Anyway, there's not only a fear about technology, but there's also, we talk in the book about how a lot of baby boomers are kind of terrified of, not terrified, they are, I guess the word is, hey, Patrick, you froze on me, man. I don't know what happened.
There you are.
You're back. Good.
Keep going. Sorry about that, everybody. I told everybody on Facebook Live it was a mishaps. We can edit a lot of this out. So let's keep going, Hans.
Well, you remember the whole in your face thing? A lot of boomers think that millennials are disrespectful. You know, these guys with the beards and the facial hair and the tattoos. Let me see your tats there, Patrick. Yeah. They're kind of in our face, and they don't seem to respect their elders. They don't respect the older generation. But you know what I've figured out? This is about technology. When I had a question, like the other day, I wanted to figure out how to make really great baked potatoes. So oh my gosh, somebody's actually calling me. I thought I had it on Do Not Disturb.
Silence, please, during a meeting, Hans. Jeez.
So I was trying to figure out how to, well, I'll forget the baked potato. I've been doing some drywalling at the house. I would have to go to the library and check out a handyman book on how to do a drywall repair. Today, what do? Ask YouTube, ask Siri, ask Alexa. If I don't know the answer, I Google it. I mean, Donna and I are sitting there and we're watching the news, and there's a fact that is thrown out there, and she and I we disagree on, is that true or is that not true? We don't have to get up from the couch. We Google it. Or we ask Siri. And so your generation, Patrick, don't you think you guys have such instant access to information, and it spills over to decision making, and you get frustrated when boomers take too much time to make decisions, right? To get back to you with an answer. And I think it goes right back to technology.
I agree. 100% agree, because I've had people tell me when I'm on the phone with them and I'll say, hey, what does that mean? Or do you have a reference for that? And they say, no, I don't. And I pull up my phone and they go, what are you doing? I go, I'm just checking what you're saying. They go, man, you're a sure conversation killer. and it's like, well, no, because I'm trying to understand. Or I've had people on the phone where they've told me something and I go, interesting, can you forward me that literature or that penal code or whatever it might be? And they get frustrated, like I'm questioning their authority or questioning how their knowledge. And it's not, because I want to understand. So if I tell somebody, I'm not saying, oh, well, that's what my boss said. So that instant access, and my nephew said it best to me when Chris and I, my brother Chris, we were in California working on a project, and the directions were in Russian, Japanese, everything but English. But the code, the model, and everything was there. So he goes, go look it up on Google and print the instructions. And my nephew's standing next to me, like, looking at me. And I go, what are you looking at? And he goes, what are you doing? I said, your brother. I go, I mean, my brother, your dad wants me to look this up and print. He goes, go to YouTube. He goes, type in that model and put how to install. And I went, what? Boom. Like, it hit me. I use YouTube now as my first search engine, right? You can find things on there to help out with what you're doing. So
Totally.
Done. So what kind of rules of engagement, though, can we throw at this crowd today to help them thrive in life and work with technology, Hans? What do you?
I'm just going to give one piece of advice. We're just about out of time. For you boomers, just relax and don't be afraid to admit, I don't know, I need help. Ask your grandkids, ask your kids. Yeah. Say, could you help walk me through this? And what Patrick just said is a game changer. Ask YouTube. I've been doing some drywall repair in my house. All I do now is just look at YouTube, and it walks, whether you're repairing your car or you're cooking baked potatoes, or you're fixing drywall, or you have a technological problem, ask YouTube. That would be my advice to you baby boomers.
And the same, what I would say for you millennials or even the Gen Zs that are coming up, know where the technology came from. Because I can tell you, just get ready. Wait and see how our videos advance over the next couple weeks. Is that I'm learning through YouTube and other media channels on how to really work on videos. So again, think about how we can help you, how we can thrive in life and work.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for watching today. Have a great day and stay safe.
All right, everyone.